Good evening. Good evening. Welcome back to Resilience and Trauma Fitness. We are, I believe, at episode 9. We are going to talk tonight about resilience and how we can get back to where we once were, how to be resilient. And I think we're wired to be resilient. We have the capability to do that, I think we do. I think our Creator made us to where we can heal, our body can heal from physical things, like if we're exposed to something, if we can get it out of our system or we can get away from that toxin type thing. That's why we wear PPE. Our bodies are pretty good at healing. And so we are reminded about the different kind of coping mechanisms for getting back to kind of where we were, kind of like what we originally created to be, which is without all the toxins and all the traumatic experiences. We'll be kind of getting back to square one, or kind of rewinding back. I hope that makes sense. So I'm Bodhi. I'm your host on this journey tonight. It's going to be just kind of the agenda or the flow of events tonight are going to be, we're going to talk about just kind of defining resilience, and to go through 10 coping mechanisms. And then we're going to go into some things that I have found that have helped me. And by the way, I'm not perfect at this, right? You know, I'm on this journey just like you guys are. So just some things that I've found that worked well for me, and just to try to be an encouragement to you, whatever you're going through. So with that, we're going to talk about some things that work for me. I'm going to talk a little bit about maybe some humorous things too. And then we're going to talk about just sort of like kind of like right now where we are, and you're going to experience one of the things that I think helps me get back to, is one of my coping mechanisms, that I can get back to being closer to what my Creator's made me to be, which is 100% Bodhi and nobody else and nothing else, right? Just me. So you're going to see all that. So let's just get right into it. Yeah, on the title of the show tonight, it is absolutely yeah. Well, that was great. I didn't have all that written down. I wrote it really well in the title of the show. So you want to find the definition for that. And these are the nature of these live shows. You know, sometimes it's just like you got everything just all totally prepared, and then it's time to do it, but something slipped. So yeah, there we go. So that's the nature of what you get when you're paying all the top dollar that you're paying for this show. So yeah. So the definition of resilience is one that kind of allows you to bounce back from a traumatic experience. It is also kind of like helps you to be kind of get back to your original shape, if you will. So that's kind of the definition, and then we go into it's more than a psychological trait or a biological phenomenon. And after many studies and with many different people from special forces, POWs, resilient people in all walks of life, they were able to come up with like 10 different kinds of factors for resilience. Excuse me. And these coping mechanisms is something I'm going to share with you right now. So one of the first things is confronting your fears, confronting your fears. And how to do that would not be what we're going to talk about now. I'm just going through line by line, the 10 of them. So confront your fears, maintain an optimistic but realistic outlook. Number 3, seek and accept social support. Seek and accept social support. This, I mean, the first thing that came to mind when I read this was Chris Kyle's and the guy he was trying to help. I don't know. I went there with my thinking at that situation, and it's like, yeah. So, number 4, imitate sturdy role models. Imitate sturdy role models. Number 5, rely on your own inner moral compass. Number 6, if you have religious or spiritual practices, those are a coping mechanism. Number 7, find a way to accept what you cannot change. Number 8, attend your own health and well-being. Attend to your own health and well-being. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze, I think. Excuse me. Yeah, so we could talk about every one of these for half an hour. Number 9, train intensively to stay physically fit, mentally sharp, and emotionally strong. Number 10, be an active problem solver, looking for meaning and opportunity in the midst of adversity. Don't forget to find humor in the darkness. That is a coping mechanism, and I think many of us have seen the use of humor in dark situations many, many times. It's a coping mechanism, and we know it is, and it works a little bit. But that's just one use of it. So I'm going to start to kind of unpack some of this stuff as we move into this later. This is really the only. This is not going to be that long of a show tonight, but because this really deserves sort of like yeah, we know what the trauma's like. We know our story pretty well, but let's unpack the good news part of it. That's kind of what we want to see. Like, hey, like, help me understand this. So, yeah, well, it definitely deserves more unpacking, and we're going to get into that. And we can't get into all of it tonight, but I would like to say that there are some things that we can start. We can jump into tonight. And just by living it out and just sort of like being it right here on the show, I'd like to do some of that for one of my coping mechanisms, and I hope, and sometimes it's helpful to you, and that is singing. Okay, the thing for me is when I worship God, one of the powerful things for me is to sing, and I found that it's not just powerful for me. It's powerful for me when I come into a group of people that are singing worship music. It's powerful for me when I'm actually kind of like I participate with them who are worshiping. And then I add my voice to that group. And together it's a group dynamic thing. So it's kind of a interesting dynamic, I will say, and it's not for everybody, but it is for me, and I would love to share that, because I'm actually going to sing a song here tonight, a hymn. It's a hymn, and so when I do that, I'm just going to I'm just doing it really not for you and not for me, but I'm going to sing it to the Lord. But I thought I would do that here live for you, to kind of bear witness to. So there you go. So confronting your fears, yeah, that's just going to be something that we're gonna talk more about, and I will say just a little bit about it tonight. There's not a lot. There's that's different for everyone, right? Maybe finding a trusted person that you can talk to about those things, because they're not going to, their job is to listen to you and to not judge you, and those kinds of things. And if you're just like, well, I don't have any fears, I'm fearless. Well, I've lived that way before, and I can say that if you fear nothing, then I think you still got some learning to do. There is, I think, or I don't think you're being honest. Honestly, I think that's probably more truthful. Is either it's not true that you're, you may have fears, but you're just not being honest with yourself. At least I think that's what the case was with me. So I would venture to guess that that could be true for you, but who knows? I'm not trying to pass judgment or guess, because I don't know. I just want the best for you, and that's why I'm here. So, so some of these things, I'll just talk about me, okay? I'm just going to talk about me, and just some of these things that work for me, some of them don't work for me. I think that these factors that they found out that, I mean, they interviewed all these kinds of people to find these kinds of these coping mechanisms. Really, they hit home with me. I know that for me, maintaining an optimistic but realistic outlook sometimes it looks a little sarcastic in terms of my realistic outlook, but I know maintaining an optimistic outlook is critical, right? We know that that's important to do, not easy to do, especially when we get hardened and we get the shell and we start wearing a mask that is like, this and so it looks more like sarcasm, and it can turn to bitterness. But another one, that third one, the seeking and accepting social support. Yeah, maybe, I saw this with guys that came to the center. They would come to the center, and like for the first 4 or 5 days, they had walls up that you couldn't break through. And it was kind of sad to see that much time go by without them, even, really interacting with anyone else. But everybody's on their own time frame too. Everybody's kind of working through their stuff at the path, on their path, and at the rate as fast as they can go. And it's different for everyone. And so, I can take a hint, and I've experienced that. So accepting social support, it's really important. We are social creatures, and regardless, it is important for us to accept some sort of social support. And so, and then, fourth, imitate sturdy role models who are our role models who are solid, who can be healthy, sturdy role models. That's important. Yeah, so I'm not gonna belabor this whole thing here. I'm just gonna move right into kind of the next phase of kind of what I think is really great. I really enjoy. Um, I just really enjoy the stories. Sometimes I remember some guys. They had different ways of coping, right? So someone would go out and we'd smoke a cigar on the back patio, and it's really helpful to just put everything away, put the phones away, put all the stuff away, and just sit down and watch a campfire. And it slows down really, really well. And that is such a good place to be. Just slowing it down to that speed, and not having to think really, like rapid fire. At least that would be how I describe it. I really, really enjoy those times. That's healthy. That's helpful. And it doesn't have to require any special substances either. It can be. My favorite is to have a cigar. I enjoy those once in a while. Like a lot of things, once in a while. But yeah, I think that's pretty good there. Another thing that I found is that when I realized that my stuff when it happens, it's not especially enjoyable for anyone else or me, and so I find that actually giving of myself to my kids or to my wife when I'm at a place where I can do that, where I'm a place where I can actually stop myself from going down this path, and then turn that around and go, okay, like, what can I do? What can I do to help? It's then that I can say, okay, I'm going to help. I'm going to do something that's helpful here. And it's not easy getting there. It's not easy to get there. It sounds simple. It is simple, but it's not easy for me. So my encouragement to you is if there's a way that you can feel that temperature, that thermometer, that needle going higher and higher and higher, like, ooh, I'm getting close to the red zone, like, I need to do something different. What do I need to do? And you have that already kind of pre-planned. What can I do? Well, maybe I need a glass cold of water. I need a wash rag, cold wash rag on my face. I don't know what it is for you. You'll know what it is, or you can find out, if you have that ability to do that. But just trying to just kind of keeping track of your own, thermometer is what I call it, and then sort of like, if it's possible, because there have been times, right, when there's something that's just like that, and then it's like, oh, we're on now. And then, but it doesn't always happen that way. So I think it's important to kind of have kind of the internal sort of like, the internal, monitoring system on, and so the internal radar is sort of scanning all the time, and that sort of reports, data points as you go through it. I think that's helpful. So with that, I'm gonna move into the next phase of what I'm gonna do tonight, and I'm gonna actually sing for you. Now, I am not a singer, and I am not a I'm not a like a professional or even an amateur at this, but I do like to try. I do know that there are 4-part harmonies, and I have tried to sing many times, and I've done okay, but I'm not great. And so what I can say is that the beauty of singing is understanding that there are usually four parts to these songs that are written, these hymns, and that I can sing one of them. And then, other people with different kinds of voices, they'll sing their part, and like ladies, they'll sing, but without further ado, let me just get right into this. This is an Advent hymn, because we are in the season of Advent now. We just began the season of Advent, and this is one called "Comfort, Comfort Ye My People," and it's just listen to the words as you go through this. It's pretty good. Let me see if I can do this now that I've built it all up like this. Here we go. Comfort, comfort ye my people. Speak ye peace, thus saith our God. Comfort those who sit in darkness, bowed beneath their sorrow's load. Speak ye to Jerusalem of the peace that waits for them. Tell her that her sins I cover, and her warfare now is over. Yea, her sins our God will pardon, blotting out each dark misdeed. All that well deserved his anger, he will no more see nor heed. She has suffered many a day, now her griefs have passed away. God will change her pining sadness into ever-springing gladness. For the herald's voice is crying in the desert far and near, bidding all men to repentance, since the kingdom now is here. Oh, that warning cry obey, now prepare for God a way. Let the valleys rise to meet him, and the hills bow down to greet him. Make ye straight what long was crooked, make the rougher places plain. Let your hearts be true and humble, as befits his holy reign. For the glory of the Lord now o'er earth is shed abroad, and all flesh shall see the token that his word is never broken. So that's going to be it for tonight. I would like to say thank you for watching. Please subscribe and like to Resilience and Trauma Fitness. If you like the show, please give us some feedback, some comments in the comments of the show. And if you have anything that you would like to ask questions, if you're a female and you want to ask female type questions, we have Jill from our last show. She's more than willing to field those questions for you and kind of help with things that I might not be familiar with or not experienced with. So anyway, I would just encourage you, be safe, take care of yourself, and remember that there is always someone out there who's willing to listen, and there is always hope. Absolutely. All right. With that, we are going to say goodnight.